Guys, we're about to compare and contrast two incredibly gifted, or we're going to compare and contrast two messengers on the Iran war. Our elderly Senate candidate Chuck Schumer versus Graham Platner. This is the video. This is Schumer talking about Iran.
Iran's military infrastructure.
Well, the bottom line, here's what really burns me about Iran. Any first-term plebe in West Point studying Iran, they would have said the first thing you better do is secure the Strait of Hormuz if you're going to go to war with Iran.
Oh, yeah?
And from what I've been told, some of the generals said that.
How would they do that, though? How would they do that? You know, I mean, I don't necessarily think that Trump didn't think about securing the Strait of Hormuz. I just don't think he had the capability of doing it.
To Trump, he said, oh, don't worry, I know they won't block it. Well, of course they did, and now our prices are through the roof, the world economy is in chaos, etc. And so we're now so deep, and Iran sees that they have real leverage here, that it's harder and harder.
All right, so Senator,
yeah. But also, it was bad for us to ever get involved in this offensive, illegal war in the first place, Chuck.
Here's how we ought to get out.
No, hold on a second. Okay. You got to answer my question first.
Yeah.
Is it a good thing that Iran, and I think you would agree with me, epicenter of terrorism in the world since 1979, is it good?
Well, I would argue that America and Israel are at the center of terrorism across the world since whatever date they said. So that's my opinion.
The military infrastructure is being degraded to the degree that it is. Yes or no?
You can't.
No, we shouldn't be doing this. This is an illegal offensive war. Iran was not going to attack anybody in the foreseeable future. So, yeah.
Because it's a premature question. What is going to happen in the next several months?
No, I can ask that question.
Well, you can't separate.
No, I can't. So you have a military side of it. I can show you my chart, but I think I threw it away. You have the military side, you have the political side. I'm simply asking on the military side, is it good, regardless of whether we agree with going in or not, is it good that Iran's military infrastructure has been seriously degraded?
I have to tell.
Is it good that Iran's military infrastructure has been degraded? No, I would argue no, because that is going to lead to Israel feeling more impunity. That is going to lead to more destabilization, more wars in the Middle East. That's going to lead to more death and destruction. It's going to lead to more genocide by Israel. I would argue no. I think that Iran needs a deterrence and needs to be able to deter Israel from, going full forthright Nazi and invading every country and taking over all of the territory or whatever. So yeah, I think this is not a good thing to try and take out Iran's missile capabilities.
Joe. First,
that's my answer.
You can't. What's going to happen 3 months from now? Is it worth it? What's going to happen? Will the world economy collapse? Will something happen even worse? Will the whole energy infrastructure of the world go up in smoke? So you have to, when they do it without planning, when they do it without
this is what I'm talking about. This is stupid. This is stupid. You're stupid. This is terrible messaging. Because all this does, I've said it before, all this does is it makes you look like a whiny little bitch. Because you're saying basically, I want to have this happen. I want to go to war with Iran, and I want Iran to fall, and I want to create a failed state or whatever they want to do, or install a new puppet regime or whatever. You're saying I want all of those things, and Donald Trump is doing all those things, but he's not doing it in the right way. And by saying that, everyone who hears you just thinks, dude, and I'm talking like the average American, they hear that and they say, what the fuck are you mad about? He's doing it. Who cares, right? That's what the average American would think when they hear that. So, they just think you sound like a whiny little bitch when you do that. It's terrible, terrible messaging. You look so pathetic.
Understanding where they're going.
Senator.
Where they're going.
So
I don't think it's fair.
Weak.
No,
it's not. It is.
If you do not strategize the consequences of the action, the military action, if you obliterate and do all these things, but you don't actually play it out in your minds.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid. Whether they planned it out or not, the outcome would be the same. Like, and they did. I bet they did plan it out. This is all they did was dust off plans that they've been making in back rooms in the CIA for like 40 years or whatever. Like these aren't plans that like Donald Trump isn't just flying by the like, you know, flying by the hip or whatever. I mean, he is to some extent or whatever, but the actual original plans, all of these have been planned out for years, and all of the, potential consequences and things that could happen, like the Strait of Hormuz being shut down, those were all expected. And like, yeah, I don't know. This is a little bit like silly to think that if you just had like a Democrat in there, they would be able to do this war the right way or something. That seems ridiculous to me.
And have strategy for the consequences
Joe,
that it may not be good.
Let me answer the question for everybody in America. The answer, yes. It's good that the terrorist regime, their military...
No. You took out the most peaceful person in their government. The Supreme Leader, Khamenei or whatever, like however you pronounce it, was probably the most peaceful person in their government. The person who wanted to integrate the most with the West, and the person who was, I don't know, just the most amenable to like diplomatic solutions, to a fault in my opinion. He should have been more aggressive if he wanted shit like this to stop happening. But they killed him. They killed him. And so now all you're left with are the most hardline, like, ready to go to war for the country, like IRGC people. So I don't really understand why they think that's a good thing necessarily, that they killed him. Like, even from their perspective as like people who quote unquote don't like terrorism or whatever, wouldn't this create more of exactly what you say you don't like? I don't understand.
Has been and capabilities have been degraded radically. The question, Mike, though, is...
I mean, they have been degraded, but not nearly as much as they've said, is what I mean.
Political. It's the political question. No. What is the political impact? What's the impact in the straits? What's the impact in the region?
Joe, in all due respect, if you ask the American people, if you have the choice of degrading the military structure in Iran, but having gasoline be $6 a gallon, and our economy falling into a deep recession where millions lose their job, what do you think about
Senator, you're not listening.
Yeah, everybody, from a political perspective, nobody fucking wants that, because nobody cares about Iran. Like, the average America isn't thinking about, like, Iran all the time. They're thinking about, how am I going to pay my next mortgage payment, or how am I going to, pay this medical bill. Like, they don't give a shit about Iran.
To me, that's the political side.
No, it's not political.
Okay,
it is political. That is the political side of it. That is obviously the political side. I don't know if Chuck Schumer knows what the definition of like politics is, but that is definitely the political side of the war or whatever.
It's like Mika said.
All right, why don't we talk about the Yankees, because you're not following me here.
I am
with all due respect.
I just don't agree.
Well, he is like 90, so.
I agree with you.
No, what you don't understand me. There's a big difference. I would say that most Americans would say it's a good thing that it's degraded. Would they agree that we should have gone to war, Mike? I think most Americans, you look at the polls, they don't want this war.
Yeah, they would have said no.
They don't want this war, but there is, it's something that I think the Democrats should be, I think it's something, with all due respect, Democrats should be clear about. Iran has tried to kill Americans since 19...
See, he's just a Republican, dude, I swear. Every single time I watch this, it's like, he's just a Republican. No, they shouldn't. If they started clearly saying, yes, Iran was a terrorist regime, and this is actually a good thing that we did, that Trump did, and we should all acknowledge and appreciate that this was a good thing that Trump did. Do you know what the actual ramifications of that would be for the Democratic Party? Like, the entire base would revolt. Anybody who signed on to that or like said that would be immediately seen as a target for a primary instantaneously, like overnight. People might even come out with like fucking pitchforks. Like, this is so, like, 90% of the Democrats don't want this like war. It would be the most insane thing in the world if they came out and said that, from a political perspective, in case these people need more help with those definitions. There's another usage of it.
1979. Okay. Two things can be true at once. It can be good.
Stupid people say that.
Iran's killing machine has been degraded.
Not to say that it's not true. Like, two things can be true at once, and I say it sometimes, and I guess I'm a stupid person too sometimes. But a lot of people use that as like wishy-washy centrism.
At the same time, the consequences may outweigh the good that come from that.
Okay,
it's okay
look,
to say that.
I don't disagree with you.
Stupid messaging. He's also stupid at messaging because that's way too complicated of a message that nobody will understand.
You know, the fact that the leader Khamenei is gone, no one regrets that.
I do. You should too, Chuck. You should too. The most peaceful person in the Iranian government is dead. That is not good for your stated goal or whatever. Like, yeah, that's dumb.
The fact that Iran has less ability to create military trouble is no one disputes that. But you have to look. I don't think it's political.
I think that Iran is in a stronger position politically now than they were like before the war started. I think they're looking way more powerful right now than they were before, and I think America is looking significantly weaker than they were before.
To be very honest with you, it's the consequences, the military, the geopolitical, the economic consequences.
I'm saying geopolitical.
You got to let me finish.
You just said what I was saying. The geopolitical consequences.
Right. It's not just the economic consequences.
Right.
Again, let me ask the question again. If you ask the American people, and you had the package together, because we don't know how bad it's going to get, but we know it's pretty bad.
He just wishes he was a Republican at this point. Like, he's like, God, why do I have to keep going out there and pretending like I'm against the war? This is so hard. This is such a hard message to do.
Bad now. I think most of them would have said, no, we shouldn't have gone to war. And by the way,
most of them have said that.
Yeah, we shouldn't have gone to war.
Right.
And I'll tell you this, if they would have done it right, if they would have voted,
would it have been a lot different?
Voted with us on the War Powers Act, all these questions would have been asked ahead of time.
Right.
Instead of Donald Trump's willy-nilly, one day yes, one day no, this is our reason, that is our reason. Right. So I don't think the question can be taken.
It's so stupid, man. Nothing would be different, okay? If they went for a war powers resolution, like, okay, one thing would have changed is that they would have had slightly more legitimacy in the eyes of the public, okay? And maybe some liberals could have come on board. I don't know. I'm still hesitant to say that any actually would have. But the outcomes of the war, like the strategic outcomes, were set in stone 20, 30 years ago, man. Like, the actual things that are happening right now in terms of Iran being able to hold the Strait of Hormuz, or like Iran being able to target and easily hit all of these Gulf states in Israel as America is running out of interceptors because they're not able to produce them fast enough. Like, all of these things were already set in stone, and the outcomes would have been exactly the same whether they got into the war the right way or the wrong way. And the oil prices would be high and all that sort of stuff. None of that would have changed. So this sort of like optics shit, I think it also just like, it seems stupid and it doesn't play well either. So, okay. Well, you know what? I think we made it far enough on that one. Here, I'll let it play while I pull something
in
up.
just one slice.
Right.
Yeah. All right, I think we found some common ground.
Maybe we go to break now, since there's a little bit of agreement somewhere that we can play We're the World and go to break.
All right, Senate
How are the
Minority
Yankees going to be this year?
Better.
God.
Better.
Chuck Schumer.
Don't ever make that face again, dude. I don't understand what happens to people when they get this fucking old, that they make these goddamn grandpa faces, that like they can't just smile or laugh like a normal person. It's so weird to me. But okay, we're gonna move on.
Let's talk about just.
Okay, and we're gonna contrast that. We're gonna contrast his messaging. So here we are, Graham Platner. He's gonna answer a question about Iran. I haven't watched what he actually said, but I am 99% sure that it is going to be significantly better than whatever the hell Chuck Schumer was trying to say on Morning Joe on that video we just watched. So let's go ahead and see what he has to say about Iran here.
I saw that you had an ad that you came out with today responding to this. Do you have ads planned for all these different attacks that are expected to be coming?
It's all the same attack. And so So yes, but that's because we're essentially pushing back in the exact same manner, which is that this is not really how people, this is certainly not how Mainers want politics. People want to hear about reality. People want to hear about the issues that are fake. They want to hear about healthcare. They want to hear about housing. They want to hear about the cost of goods and services. They want to hear about the fact that their heating bills are currently skyrocketing.
I agree.
Because the price of oil is skyrocketing because of
stuff that actually matters.
Stupid war. So that's what's on people's minds. I think internet posts from 14 years ago are not the priority for folks, no matter how hard
it's not my priority
and the media apparatus is going to try to make it.
Let's talk about the war. As you mentioned up here, there's probably going to be a vote sometime soon to whether to continue to fund this operation. If you were a senator up here, would you vote to defund this Iran war?
Yes, of course. Look, I fought in Iraq.
Yeah.
I did 2 deployments to Fallujah and Ramadi.
Wow. Do you see how easy that was for him? Like, I'm serious. Do you, like, this isn't, like, I'm not just trying to be funny here, but, like, do you actually see how easy that was for him? To just say, yes, like, I will vote to defund this war. That is what we need. I know that this, like, is, this is such like a thing that it's hard for people to even see how much Democrats lose when they do the wishy-washy messaging that Chuck Schumer did in that previous segment. When they're so bad, when they have to twist themselves into knots, trying to, for instance, defend a genocide in Gaza for 2 years while pretending to be mad at Benjamin Netanyahu or whatever, right? They are constantly putting themselves in this position where they are not able to do clear and concise messaging. And I think that the actual negative effects that have on people wanting to vote for the Democratic Party is insane. It's so insane that it enabled a fascist, Donald Trump, a stupid fascist, Donald Trump, to get elected twice. These are the things that if they could just do what he just did right there and say, yeah, I'm not going to vote to keep funding this fucking war. Like, if they could do that, the amount of like goodwill and like electoral like boom that they would get if they were able to do that, if they weren't so bought by their corporate benefactors, that they would like, Democrats would seize power and reign for like 100 years, man. It would be like the CCP up in this bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they gotta, I don't know, they really, really, really gotta be able to do this. And that's why I do think that like Graham Platner is, you know, a good candidate and like the best one for, obviously, out of the people who are running in Maine over there.
In the infantry, I've been very close to the realities of wars. And that was a war that never should have happened. And that we find ourselves here with another war that should not be happening, that is resulting in destruction and horror, all frankly on the taxpayer's dime. That is money that should be spent here in the United States, on schools, on hospitals, on infrastructure.
Easy messaging.
And if
layup.
We cannot currently have a Congress that is willing.
See, that's a good analogy for all my sports heads out there who aren't big politics people or whatever. If you need an analogy, what he's doing right now is a layup. He is going up and he is just easily just like putting that ball just right up there, tiny little bounce, and then it goes right into the basket, right? What Chuck Schumer is trying to do is he's trying to do like a behind the back spin move, you know, between the legs, you know, spider bounce, like, like go up, and do like a 360 and then like try to like dunk it or something and failing miserably because he's like 90 obviously, but you know what I'm saying, like it, like you don't need to be doing all that shit. Just do this. It's way easier. It's way easier to do this.
To exercise its, I would say,
I don't know if that helped anybody, but it helped me.
We certainly should be exercising our duty to not put money into a war that, from what I can tell, absolutely no one in the state of Maine wants. So,
well, I mean, won't that leave troops in harm's way if you
boo,
vote to fund this operation?
Boo! Sorry, we've heard this question But like we heard this question so much in Iraq, and like, do we really have to at this point, man? Do we really have to even ask that question still? Like, I mean, I maybe this guy isn't like a fucking corporate stooge, and maybe he's not actually asking this for like the beneficiaries of the people who want to use this as like an actual attack line. Maybe he's like showing how stupid this attack line is or something. Like I'm not gonna say for sure that he is like on the payroll for trying to get this war going, but we got to move past these like inane, stupid arguments or like these stupid questions, man.
No, because the troops should just not be in harm's way.
Exactly.
Bring people home. Stop bombing. We started this thing. We can end it.
Hell yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I fought in Iraq. In 2005 and 2006, several years after I was told we won that war.
Yeah.
And at that time, people were still pulling the whole, oh, well, how could we
exactly.
pull out?
And who the fuck are you, man? Were you there? Were you fighting that war? Seriously, like, were you there? Was whoever wrote that question for you there? Like, come on, man. You're trying to fucking troops shame this guy? This dude, he was in the army. He was doing the war crimes, buddy. He was there. He had the Totenkopf and everything, and he's reformed now. Okay, he's become our Antifa super soldier, the one we know and love today. So you can't talk to him like that anymore, man.
Look, I was in the combat infantry. I could tell you that my life would be better if I had not had to fight in Ramadi in 2006. I very much wish we'd had a political apparatus then that had a spine and some backbone to make sure we don't send America's sons and daughters off to take part in horrific illegal violence. That, to me, is just absolutely unacceptable. And no, I do not think that we should fund a war that is illegal and not remotely in the interests of the American people. It's only in the interests of a political class that's trying to protect their hide, whether it's Donald Trump trying to get us all to not pay attention to him being in the Epstein files, or
you think that's why he launched this war?
No.
I think it's a mix of that, and Benjamin Netanyahu finally found a president that was...
Nah. It was the same people behind the scenes were like the same capital owning class, the billionaires, the Epstein class, all that stuff. They all wanted this to happen. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I think Kamala would have done it too. I know that might anger some people, but I think she would have, because I think the geopolitical situation for Israel was so bad that they would have thought that they never could have done this unless they did it right now. Like, that's kind of what I think happened. And the sort of like he's using it as a distraction or like that sort of stuff, I just think that's a little bit too hand wavy, and I think that takes away too much of the actual blame away from the billionaires and the capitalists who like have been planning to do this for like 40 years or whatever. So but that's like a minor like messaging thing, and I don't really think that like I don't care if they message this way, because I think what he's saying probably plays better than what I'm saying right now. But I'm just trying to tell people like the truth or whatever. I'm not trying to be like a good messenger. Clearly from my videos, if you've ever watched them, I'm not a very good messenger. But...
sucker enough to launch the war that he's been pushing for 30 years. But yeah, those are the reasons why.
And speaking of Israel, do you think that the U.S. should stop aiding Israel, should pull back on aid to Israel?
Yes. I fundamentally believe that a nation that is committing a genocide should not be a place that we are putting money. We should be leveraging the fact that we have a lot of power in this relationship due to our funding.
We
should be leveraging that to, frankly, get the Israeli government to stop behaving in such an utterly atrocious fashion. So yes, I do think that.
I can't tell. This guy is giving me weird vibes. He looks really, really mad, but he's like asking decent questions. So I'm like, I can't tell if he is like a normal like stooge for power or whatever, or like what his deal is here. CNN.
We need to be spending money here at home. This country is in Maine. It is falling apart. Our healthcare system in Maine is collapsing as we speak. I live in rural Maine. We are watching our hospitals close. It is difficult for me to watch people struggle with housing, watch people struggle with just heating their homes this winter. and then watch us send billions upon billions of dollars.
Maine is such a beautiful state. I would love to go there sometime, and I don't know. It seems like a great place to like go camping or like go like I don't really hike that much, but like I don't know, like do some outdoorsy stuff or whatever. I kind of want to go there at some point.
Overseas to kill people. That is a disconnect that I think most Americans absolutely understand and want to see change.
They said that Iran would have had a nuclear weapon if Trump did that. Do you not believe that?
Stupid. Jesus. Okay, I have to assume that he's like being serious or whatever, but or like maybe he actually believes it. I don't know. It's really hard to tell, but yeah, no, they've been saying that for 40 years. Who cares? Shut up. That's what my answer would be.
Last summer, I was told after years and years and years.
Also, the only way that we would ever that we're ever going to have peace in the Middle East is if Iran gets a nuke. Is my personal opinion.
Last summer, I was told, after years and years and years of being told that Iran was only weeks away from a nuclear weapon, I was told that with only being weeks away, that we had fully obliterated all of Iran's nuclear capacity or building capability. So either someone lied then or someone is lying now. So no, I do not believe it. In fact, it's rather laughable, if I'm being honest.
So you're also here during the Department of Homeland Security shutdown. We're seeing these lines.
Okay, done with that. Cool. See, that's a masterclass. That is what you can do when you take off all of the I don't know, the handicaps or whatever you're giving yourself. Like the way that you're intentionally making it so much harder for yourself. When you just lose all that extra those extra things that are holding you back, like this is what you can be. And it's not that hard. Like I don't even think Graham Platner is like that elegant of a speaker or like that great of a communicator, to be honest. I just think he's able to play like without the settings on like extra hard or whatever that the Democrats love to play the video game on or whatever, like or play the game of politics on. He just turns it on to easy mode and then goes for it.